Hi and welcome to the video. So hi, I'm Alyssa and this is going to be a video about everything that I've ever drawn, sketched, painted up to this point. Yeah, I think I improved quite a lot, but I still have a long way to go, so I sort of want to reflect back on everything I've done up to this point and sort of give everybody else hope for starting out drawing and stuff. So I never had an art class. I do not have any talent as an artist. I don't have any skill. I had to teach myself basically. So yeah, this is sort of my journey. And excuse my hand, I'm sorry. I accidentally slammed it in the door 2 days ago, and that's still the scab. So sorry about that if that triggers you in some way. Alright, so this was the first sketch I've ever made, and yes, we really are going into the first sketch ever. And I basically picked up a pencil and I was like, okay, let's try sketching, let's see where this takes me. So this is my bed, literally. It sucks, obviously, it's a really sucky picture, but it's the first sketch I ever did. Then after this, I googled some drawing prompts on the internet, and I thought, okay, let's do a sketch challenge where you're supposed to draw one of the prompts every day, and let's see where that goes. And these are the collection of sketches that I did in that time. I didn't finish the challenge. Every challenge, or art challenge, I've started, I've not finished because I get art block in the middle, so I didn't finish everything. But yes, so you're looking at sketches of a person that do not know how to sketch and does not have any skill whatsoever. So they suck, but they do get better. So at least not now, but my more recent sketches look a lot better. And as we all know, hands are really hard to draw, and I did not manage any better than I think I can today, even after having being drawing and sketching and painting for 2 years. I still can't do hands, so this is probably still how I would draw it if I had to. This was the first of many really bad sketches. Okay, potted plants. So these were sketches of my succulents I had at the time. Light bulbs, so that was my desk lamp, and this was my ceiling fan. And it sucks, and that's why #oops. At least I'm self-aware, right? Here we have people at the beach. Here we have two ladies playing volleyball, and you have a lovely lady chilling on the beach having a tan. Yeah, like I said, I really had no skill, and I never had an art class up to this point, so it all sucks. Here we have trees. Sushi. I didn't hate this one as much. If I had to remember what I felt like after I drew this, at least you can kind of tell it's sushi. We have coffee mug, so it's my mug, and this was, you know, when they do that arty little stuff with your froth and stuff. Okay, so the theme was skulls, and I drew Cubone from Pokemon. This one is traced, this one is not. So this is the first and last picture I traced. I thought, okay, you know what, if I'm gonna do this art thing, let's not cheat. This one is a building. The theme was a building, and this is actually a building on the university campus I was attending at the time. What is this? Are those supposed to be the tiles? I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. Okay. I have no excuse. We have a campsite, aptly named, poorly drawn. There we go. So this was after I had been drawing a little bit longer, so these actually, the bagels came out kind of cute. I'm happy with the bagels. That's the only thing I'm happy with. Obviously I still can't draw people, still can't. Yeah. Muffin, a coffee pot. This was a budgie we had at one point, and it kind of sort of looks like a chibi version of her. This is a cute picture. I'll always like this picture because it makes me think about her. She's no longer with us, unfortunately, but This is very, like, it kind of suits her character and the way she was. And then last up we have a South African penguin, because that's where I'm from. I'm from South Africa, so yeah. Okay, obviously still sucks. It's not cute. It's not done well. Yeah. But yeah, okay, so this was the first little batch of sketches that I drew along with this little guy. And it does get better from here on out, but it does take me a very long time to sort of get an understanding of shapes and how to draw and technique and all of that. So this was the first little group of sketches. Okay, after that I got this book. It's not a sketchbook, it is just a little book. It's a bullet journal. So this is when I was using a really cheap watercolor palette with the chalky paint, and it was terrible. And this is printer paper again, so it's not meant for painting. Yeah, okay, let's start. And this is like where I started figuring things out, but I still suck at art, so let's go on this journey. Right, so this is obviously terrible. I used the reference of someone else's watercolor painting and I tried to copy the exact thing. I didn't trace it, but I used another artist's peacock painting and I tried to emulate what they did. Obviously didn't manage. Yeah, didn't manage. This pig, although he's not the best, was like a very pivotal point in sort of my limited experience of painting, because it took me quite a few layers to get this right. And obviously it's watercolor, so it's not really supposed to be layered. And the way I use watercolor is not the way it's meant to be used. I know that, obviously. So this pig, I don't know, it's probably got like 6 or 7 layers on top of it. And I remember while I was painting it, and I put all the colors where I wanted it, like 2 layers in, I thought I was done, and then I'm like, what if I just like do another layer and see if it makes it look a bit better? And then I added that layer, and I kept going and kept going and kept going, and this is the end product. And I mean, it's very obvious that like I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm not very skilled at art, but this was the first painting drawing painting I ever did that I remember actually liking, and I still like it because of the history behind it. So what this taught me specifically was, if it's looking crap, just add another layer and figure it out from there. So that's sort of my motto right now. If a painting is really not going too well, I just tell myself that that's okay, this is like layer 5 of however many layers, and usually if I just keep going, I do get to a point where it's not too horrible. So continuing with that, here is my first koi fish, and I did revisit koi fish quite often. Sort of tried to apply the whole keep adding layers principle. So it's obviously still not the best, but there are quite a few layers, and it's got some substance to it. It's got like some shading on the sides, even though at this point I didn't really understand how shading and highlights work. It was a good starting point, I feel. So this was one of the first birds I did, like one of the first many birds, because I tend to paint birds most now. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with it still. I mean, it's a far from how I would paint a bird now, but I do enjoy the flowers. I suck with like flowers and trees and just anything like landscape related. Obviously his little feet are terrible, but I still kind of like it. It was the first bird I did, so I'll always have a soft spot for this little bird. This again was a watercolor inspired by, or like I tried to copy someone else's watercolor bird, and I didn't, I mean, at this point I just wanted to get a handle on how and where to put the paint and how to mix it and all of that. So yeah, I don't see the harm in trying to paint a painting as someone else did it, because it's basically a study. I still like this bird. I'm very happy with it. I like the way the tree came out. This foot is better than that foot. At least this one looks like a foot, so yeah. This was the first of many, many bees. We will do a comparison at some point about what all the bees I've ever painted look like, but this was the first one. And obviously I hate the flower, I hate the whole lower half of this entire painting. But I'm quite proud of this leg. It actually looks like a real bee's leg, at least the shape somewhat. And the wings are terrible. The highlighting, the color, the shadows, all terrible, but I do like this leg quite a lot. So as a first bee, it's not the worst. I have made worse bees than this, so we'll get to that. This was my first red fox. Obviously it sucks. What is this eye even? No animal's eye looks like that, but yeah. But yeah, that was my first red fox. Oh goodness, this is so terrible. What is this? Like he looks death right in the face, this little deer. Shame. Obviously it sucks. We're not even going to talk about how bad it is, but I do revisit deers quite often, so then I went back to, oh my gosh, I went back to painting other people's paintings, and this is what I came up with, and this is such a horrible snake. I hated it then, I hate it now. I remember finishing this and not even adding layers and layers and layers could save it. So I at one point just gave up and I was like, you know what, this is gonna suck, but keep it in the book. I used to like tear out everything that I hated. But I did tell myself to keep this one specifically because I knew that one day I would paint a snake and it would look okay and I would laugh at this one. So that's why it's still here. This is a dog. Do not ask me where the other ear is. So yeah, this again is another bird that I did from like a live photo, a photograph of an actual bird, and it came out terrible. Again, I used someone else's painting. I tried to copy it. I did not do it justice. But it was the first of many fawns that I had done, and I'm still not really good at fawns yet. I have done one that I'm somewhat proud of, but we'll get to that in the future. This one though, I kept him again because I knew I'd be painting a lot of fawns and I wanted to come back and compare. My first and only dragonfly. I actually need to try paint another one. Goldfish. The first goldfish I've tried. They didn't come out too horrible, but they still don't look good. Nothing in this book looks good. My first red panda. Still sucks. Like, nothing in this book is good. I know that, guys. So, my first seahorse. Yeah, it is what it is. I did this dog twice. This is someone else's painting of a dog. So, and they came out completely different both times I did them. So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, at least you can see it's a dog. It's not the worst dog. This, oh my gosh, this is supposed to be a raven. And I thought I was being fancy by saying it's a monochrome study. So you only use black. Oh, clearly I cheated because there's a bit of white as well. But anyway, yeah, this sucks. My first turtle. So yeah, I mean, it's a turtle. It's not a nice turtle, but it's a turtle. Sakura flowers. I can't do flowers. This again was another bird from last. It sucks. How does this bird even fly? It is broken. I don't know. So I then went back to drawing someone else's watercolor drawing. This was someone else's painting. I think it's a cute little boy, but where are his feet? Where are they? Where is everything? It's not the best. My first cat. I actually think it looks kind of cute for a first try. Cats are difficult because they are so fluffy, and I find it hard to find a proper structure and shapes in things that are super fluffy. My second turtle, it kind of sucks. Another koi fish, painted with a chalky paint. It still sucks, but it's not the worst. I mean, I feel like there's some improvement in sketching, at least from this. and like, where's my beach? I feel like in terms of sketching, at least, there's a bit of an upgrade from like this to this. It's not by much, but, and obviously this is still really bad, but it's better than that. So, okay. This was another bird from life, and then at this point I was like ready to give up on painting things from life because it never has gone well for me. So yeah. An owl. The other person who painted this did it like so well, and I really wanted to get close to how they did it, so I didn't manage to do that, obviously. Oh, this was on the 1st of 2019, so cool. A doggo. The eyes look like doll eyes, and I have a really big, I still struggle with eyes, but the way I do eyes are not the best. They either look like this, or they look like completely cartoonish like this. So at this point I was trying to figure out how to do eyes, and this isn't the worst, but it's not good either. A budgie parrot. I still like this flower. I can't do flowers, but I still like this flower. I don't think I would, even with like after having been sketching for 2 years, I don't think I could do a better job at this now than I did at this day. So I'll revisit flowers and stuff when I feel like I've made enough progress and everything else. This is supposed to be a bald eagle. It does not look like, it looks depressed. Why are you depressed, bro? I don't know. It sucks, but it's there. I'm keeping this one. I wanted to tear it out and throw it away, but I'm keeping this because I do want to revisit a bald eagle, and then I want to compare what it looks like then and now. This is also another bird that I like to paint often. It's a kestrel hawk. As you can see, I skip a lot. I get art blocks so bad. So this was in January, and then now we're hopping into June already. So from Jan to June I was just so blocked up, and then another month went by and now we're in July. This sucks. I tried to do this bird twice. It still sucks, but I'll show you. Great. And then there's another jump to like October. This sucks. This was from a live picture, like a picture of an actual bird. I did not know you get birds in these colors, but yeah, this is an actual bird and it does not look like a real bird. So, and then this is the last one in the sketchbook. I'm never going to revisit the sketchbook again. It's supposed to be a wolf. It does not look like a wolf, but I mean, there it is. There wasn't much improvement in this time, but I wasn't painting quite often. I still like this one the most out of this whole book. This is my favorite. I mean, second is probably this little guy. I really like this bird, and then the rest just suck. So but I am going to make another video in future where I come and I compare directly what my most recent snake looks like to this one, what my most recent red fox, there it is. I do red foxes quite often. I'll compare what this one looks like to my other red foxes, and yeah, that's a video I'm going to make probably tomorrow after I've finished putting this one together. Okay, so that's it for this book. Now we're moving on to another book that I started, or another concept sort of idea that I started. So after that book, I started collecting blank papers, basically. So our newspaper, our local newspaper, often included just a blank page, and I took those and I cut them up into like little pages about this size, and the idea was that I would take this little folder with me if I went somewhere and I felt like sketching. Like, okay, as you can see, this is a really poorly drawn macaw from life. It sucks. This was supposed to be a German Shepherd dog. Sorry, my hair keeps getting in the way. It sucks. You can't deny it. It sucks. Bees. Remember when I said I did worse bees? Yeah, these are those bees. So these bees suck. They were like really fuzzy honeybees, And obviously I have no understanding about structure yet, so obviously, like, yeah, they're fuzzy, but there's a body and a skeleton underneath this. And I, at this point, did not know how to illustrate that there's a skeleton, but it's also fuzzy, you know? And the legs look terrible. They just, how are they even floating? I don't know. So this is a terrible, terrible little bee painting. This was a painting based on a picture of a real life white-throated sparrow. It sucks, obviously. Yeah, all of these suck. So here's another bee. Here we have a blue jay, and blue jays are really difficult to paint in my opinion because they look like cartoons. So I did try to paint blue jays more than once, and they just get worse and worse every single time. You'll see what I mean in a minute. This bee is the worst bee I've ever done. I'm so depressed about life. Like, this bee is so depressed. It's a terrible little bee. But yeah, this is the worst bee I've ever done. This was supposed to be a painting of my pony, like my own pony that I've had since I was 6 years old. So it's been like almost 20 years, and I've seen her most days out of my entire lifetime, and I still can't manage to paint her. So I'm sorry, Claudie. I'm very sorry. This is some other hawk. I don't even know what type of hawk it is. I clearly didn't care enough to write down what type it is, but nothing good to say about that. This I'm actually kind of proud of. This is my actual dog, Misha. It looks exactly like her. I mean, it's a bad version of her, and it's not well painted. It's poorly executed, but it actually looks like her. Like, if I had to show this to someone who knows my dog, they would immediately know that this is Misha. So this, I was proud of this one. I'm still kind of proud of this one. I think it has sort of like a child illustration type thing going for it. I don't quite like this. I did repaint this at some point, this exact reference. So we'll see how I did, and I'm not sure which one I like more actually, but I kind of like this one. And the eye, although it's not realistic and that's not what an eye looks like, I think this is like a cartoonish version of the animal. So I'm actually still quite proud of this one, even though it's not the best. Still quite proud of it. Here's another red panda, supposed to be. And then we have a very terrible painting again. It's supposed to be a ferret. It sucks. It really sucks. Oh my gosh. It sucks so bad. It's terrible. Here's my dog again. This actually looks like her. Yeah, this is her. It's not the best one I've done of her. It's really not a good one. It doesn't really represent what she looks like, but it's kind of cute still. This is a mossy. I don't know what this, it's a Cape Sparrow. It's terrible. It's also the last thing I painted on this paper. And then I also had a few loose sketches lying around, so we'll go through that really quick. So I wanted to practice painting flowers, and I still suck at it. So these are pansies. This was actually sketched on location and painted on location. It's the waterfront, or like one of the harbors in one of the towns I used to live in. But yeah, I really do not do well with landscapes, so this is probably one of the last time I tried to do a landscape in person. This was my backyard actually, when we lived in another town, different town, where we had stables on the property and our horses lived with us. So yeah, this was, these two stables were my horses' stables, and that was their paddock. And this is a nostalgic picture for me. This, I actually took a screenshot from one of the scenes in Avatar: The Last Airbender, of one of the Ba Sing Se episodes, and I tried to paint that little scene, but it did not come out that way whatsoever. This is also another screenshot from the show. It's supposed to be the Western Air Temple. Does it look like it? Absolutely not. I do not do landscapes well, not even like fake landscapes. This, I tried to do different leaves. The only one I really like is the maple leaf, because for some reason the layering went kind of well on this one. This, I took out a book from the library where it was like a watercolor book that they sort of taught you different techniques, and I tried to copy one of the illustrations. I tried to experiment with ink as well as watercolor, and it's not my thing. I tried it. It didn't go too bad, but I don't like it. I do like this leaf though. This isn't too bad, but again, don't like it. These are supposed to be two lovebirds. This again was a cheat sheet for myself. Yeah, not much to say about that. This is terrible. We'll get to that in a second. This little frog, I tried to incorporate some of the shading techniques that I had seen like there with the way I drew these little frogs. And I kind of like this guy. It's not too bad. It's not good, but it's not the worst. I did experiment at some point, so I wanted to like keep the proof that I did at least try to do different things starting out. This is terrible. It's a scene from a movie. I don't even remember what movie, but it was a girl riding a horse. And you would think by now that I know what a horse looks like, but apparently my brain just cannot translate seeing an actual horse and copying the proportions and getting it right. So this is terrible. Okay, this one is an African wild dog. I'm actually quite proud of it still. It's not the worst. I actually kind of really like this. Another landscape I tried. I even did the washi tape thing I've seen people do on the internet. And yeah, it's just not my thing. And this is actual sketching paper and like watercolor paper. It's not a thick GSM, but it's supposed to be okay for watercolor as well. And it came out horrible. So, I kept it yet once again because I do want proof that I at one point did try different things. So that when I establish a real style that's my own style, I can look back and say that, listen, this is my style now, but this is where I come from. So yeah, that's terrible. So this is my pony that I've had for so many years. Like, she's been in the family for so many years, and I should know what she looks like by now, but my brain just cannot paint her. I don't know why. This is my second attempt at a ferret, and that concludes sort of the loose little piles of papers that I've managed to collect over the years. I'm just going to pop them in here. My first little sketch. That's where it all started. Okay, and then I got this scrapbook. Actually, I think my grandmother got it for me. It's a scrapbook, so it's larger than an A4, so it's actually quite big. So what I've managed to do with this, okay, I tried this bird again. I've done this bird before. It still sucks. It's still not good. It's horrible. I tried this little bird, you know, those yellow and blue ones. I think it's called a blue tit. It's a fail on so many levels. Birds do not look like this. And then I tried this bird. It's an Indian myna. This is a terrible representation of an Indian myna, but that's what I could do. So there we go. I'll revisit this bird at some point. Okay, now moving on to my favorite little book. I got it at the end of 2019, and my intention was to fill it throughout 2020 so that by the time it's day 365, I would be done. But I didn't have the motivation, unfortunately. So my goals for this little book was to fill the whole thing. Funny, it's clearly not filled all the way. To work from life this time, to not use other people's paintings, and to relax, because I sometimes get super critical about my painting or my sketch or whatever it is while I'm busy with it. So I wanted to just, you know, take a step back, relax, not take things too seriously. So yeah, this is the first 2 pages. So here we have another koi fish. That's really terrible. It's a really bad koi fish. This took, again, like an hour and 10 minutes. And it's actually the same dog that I tried in this other sketchbook of mine, the bullet journal. Let's go find it quickly. So I feel like objectively they look like 2 different dogs. Here we have a little chameleon. I love this guy. He came out kind of cute. I spent like 2 hours on this thing, and it's way too much for such a small, like, it's literally smaller than half of my phone, you know. It's way too much time for such a small little thing, but he did come out well, so I'm not upset about it. Here's another blue jay, and again, it looks like a cartoon character. They are just very hard to paint for me. Let me just... Okay, here's another fawn that I tried. It's not good, and his eyes look dead, so he looks possessed in some way. But at least I was using gouache at this point. I forgot to mention, along with this little book, I bought gouache. So everything in this little book has been done by gouache. I stopped using watercolor. This is only gouache. This is my favorite bee that I've ever done. It's still not a good one, but I feel like this one has at least structure, and it's a little fuzzy as well. And the wing obviously sucks. I don't know how to do transparent wings. I do not know how to do them. But I feel like this leg is a nice shape. I feel like, proportionally speaking, it's the right proportion of the bee. It's just not the best bee ever, but it's the best bee I've ever done. So I'm happy with it. Here I messed up one, so I tried to paint another chameleon and it sucked, and then I redid it and just stuck that over the old one, but it came out looking even worse than the first one, so I decided, you know what, let's just keep it, it's fine. Well, when I do another chameleon and it comes out well, I'll remember this one. This is my dog. It actually really does look like her. I wish I had the reference photo that I could show you like side by side. But it actually kind of looks like her, and her eyes look a little bit better than I've been managing to do them. So, yeah, I'm happy with this one. Another seahorse. This is a red panda. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. So, okay. Another blue tit. I actually did this one in this. Did I? No, it's two different birds. It's not the same bird. Well, it's the same bird, but it's not the same reference picture. This guy is too fluffy. It's way too fluffy. Again, like, I struggle with finding the midpoint between where fluffy things end and where the, you know, you have to start seeing evidence of a skeleton somewhere. So, this is terrible. I'll get to that. So, this is another little red fox. It's not my best red fox, but it's not the worst. It's better than the one in my first sketchbook, so I actually kind of like this. And this is Momo from Avatar. I tried to paint him as an actual lemur, but it sucks so bad. So I feel like I want to try doing this again. I want to try taking a reference picture of an actual lemur and just changing the ears and the colors to suit, you know, what Momo would look like. Okay, and that brings me to Carlos. This is Carlos, the cat. It's not a real cat. I don't know a cat called Carlos, but I showed this picture of a cat to a friend, and his literal reaction was, that cat looks high, he looks like a drug dealer, and his name is Carlos. So I don't know why most of the animals I draw end up looking high. I don't know what it is, but this is the worst cat I've ever done. And again, too fluffy. It's too fluffy. Yes, cats are fluffy, and this was a fluffy cat, the reference picture that I used, but it's too fluffy, and you can't even see where his like little face starts and ends, and I don't know, it's terrible. It's just as terrible as this robin. This is, how do you say this? It's a caracal, or however you pronounce that. I actually really like this. I still like it. It's not structurally the best, and his jawline is sort of messed up. His snout was messed up. But I do like his eyes. I feel like those are quite like fierce and intense eyes. I feel like this is probably the best part of the whole painting. That little part right there. Yeah, it's not too bad. Another blue jay. I suck at blue jays. So this is the last time I tried to paint a blue jay. Probably won't try again. These are two gazelles, and I messed up their eyes again. Don't know what it is about eyes that are so difficult for me to do, but I messed up their eyes. This little fox, so many people have painted this fox. I found the reference photo on Pinterest, and I've seen so many people paint the same thing. So many different artists have so many different like interpretation of this little red fox. But yeah, I quite like him. This is my puppy again, my dog. I turned this into a digital image and I put it on a mug. So, and then I gave it to my mom for her birthday, or Mother's Day, I think. Oh dear. Okay, there's another bee. I think it's my second best bee. It's still too fluffy, but I like the way I did the highlights on this leg. There's a butterfly. The butterfly sucks. I know it sucks. The feet are wrong, the face is wrong, the little antennae are wrong, the leaf is wrong, but I do like the wings. I feel like the wings are nice, and I like the way the paint sort of streaks everywhere. I love gouache. Like, this is something you can do with gouache and you can't do it with watercolor, so yeah. This fawn is my favorite fawn that I've ever done. Again, so many people have done this reference picture, but I think it's so cute. These two legs are okay, the back two are not okay, the butt is too big, but I feel like the best part of this fawn is definitely the front half, and then the back half is the worst. But I really, really, really love this, and I would like to repaint this at some point. But I love this one. It's not great, but at least, like, it's better than the other fawn I did. I feel like this fawn is objectively a lot better than this fawn. It's a little bit of improvement, isn't it? I don't know. Okay, this is another African wild dog. I messed up his face. I got the coat colors right, because the color was the hardest part for me about this one. The ears I kind of like. They're the right shape and the right proportion size, but I messed up his snout and his eyes, so it looks, again, he looks like he sells cars over the weekends and he's not made a sale in 6 months. Yeah, I don't know. This is supposed to be another little gazelle, a steenbok. You can Google that. This is a kestrel, supposedly. It did not come out well at all. Yeah, I really like this one. And I felt like at this point I was starting to... This one is not too bad either. It's not too bad. But this one's better. I feel like at this point I started kind of seeing a pattern in the way my things look, my little paintings look. And this is starting, at least to me, it feels like this is starting to evolve into a style. So this one made me very excited. Okay, here's another one. So I did 3 of them. This one's also kind of cute. Yeah, this one's also kind of cute, actually. Don't have a lot of bad things to say about it, except that I'm not really good at this. Just, it would have been better if I was better at doing this. This is the giraffe. I very much enjoy this giraffe. It took a very long time to do. I was struggling with his neck, and every time I managed to get this one nice and dark, it was too dark in comparison to the rest of his face, and then, yeah, it was a struggle. This is a mossy. I've painted this one a few times, but I'm still not getting it right. I don't know what it is about this specific bird that I cannot get right, but I can't. This is my favorite little frog. It's so cute. I love this frog. I think it's adorable. He's a cool guy. Little guppy fish. I love this fish. I think it's cute. I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm not a big fan of the fins, like especially these 2 back fins, but overall I think it's a cute little guy, and it's somewhat in a style. Stylistically, I like this guy, even though it's not the best, and the structures often, the fins are really not the best, but this guy to me was another milestone in how I paint things. So, and then followed by a really bad duckling. I always have like one that I'm really happy with, and then one that I just do not like at all. Okay, these are paintings of whippet dogs, those tiny little whippet dogs. This one looks so depressed, but I'm kind of happy with how this one turned out, especially because the color palette is uniform, like it's mostly the same color, just different hues. This one I'm not too upset with, but I don't like it either. I feel like his eyes are not too bad. I'm starting to, at this point I was started to like understand eyes a bit more, so I'm not too upset about his eyes. I think they're quite cute, and again, I like the little brush marks I make with the paintbrush, but I don't like the snout. So for me, the best part of this painting is probably right there. And these are the last 2 pages. This guy sucks, absolutely. He sucks. Like, this is the worst little fawn I've ever painted. What is that snout? What is that? I don't know. It sucks from top to bottom. And then this guy. I am a fan of how this eye looks. I kind of like that eye. And the antlers aren't too bad either. But overall, I'm not... And those lashes, I feel like those lashes are kind of cute. So it's not the worst, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I feel like I really struggle with their snouts. Yeah. Muzzles, whatever you want to call them. I struggle with those. So yeah, at this point I was like into an antler phase, and then I got the next thing that I'll show you right now. This is a huge photo album. Actually, it's supposed to be a photo album, but it's got these little pages between every single page that I thought could be nice to like protect some of the paintings or whatever. So I only painted on the one side of these pages. So yeah, after this little guy, I was in an antler phase, and I thought, okay, let's have one page that are just for like horns and antlers. Let's do that. So this is the first one. This, objectively speaking, is a much better like deer than, where is that demented deer? Than this one. I feel like I still struggle with their muzzles or snouts, whatever you want to call them, but this one is definitely better than this one. I don't think anybody can disagree. It's still not good, but it's better than this. Here's a little mountain goat. I actually kind of really like that mountain goat. He looks evil, but I like him. And what I like about him is, again, the way that I sort of like make these little marks with the paintbrush. His eyes are not too bad, his ears are not too bad, so I feel like this is my favorite part of this little painting. If I had to block everything off, like this section is my favorite. The antlers aren't too bad. I like the little marks I made with the paintbrush on the top. The snout is still an issue, so I need to really work on that. But it's not too bad. And then there's this little guy. He's not too bad either. He's just a little out of focus. It's not the camera, it's the way I painted it. For some reason this came out very blurry and out of focus. I do like his eye. I'm getting a little bit better with eyes at this point. That's not too bad. The overall proportions aren't too bad, the antlers aren't too bad. Overall, I just think he's very out of focus, so that sort of ruins the picture. You can still see some of my pencil markings where I try to like figure out the angle of where his nose is and what that's gonna look like. I did start with a new sketchbook. Again, it's not a proper sketchbook, it's just normal printed paper, and it's dotted, so it's a bullet journal. My brother got it for me for Christmas. I just don't have the dedication to do an actual bullet journal though. It takes up too much time. And I've started drawing and painting in it. I'm actually doing Inktober in this book. I won't be inking anything. I'll still be like painting with gouache, but I do want to follow the prompts. So yeah, this is where my new adventure starts, and I'm thinking of maybe doing like speed paints from things that I do in this little book, and yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. But that's my sort of, I'll give you a sneak peek of the first page. It's a little kingfisher. Yeah, I really like this bird. I think it came out really well. I don't have much complaints about it other than maybe the twig. But yeah, this is the only thing you'll see for now, and this is my newest sketchbook. So okay, that's sort of the tour that I had planned of all the different little books that I've been painting in, and sort of where I came from. It's especially this book. This is such a terrible book. So many bad paintings and bad drawings, but they are super important for like keeping progress. So yeah. Okay, I'll see you in the next video then. Bye.